What do we see here? You see green. We see lots of green. You see people outside relaxing. You see fences around and also other neighbors. People motivated to walk to get there, to go to their garden. Look at that. Green, lush. Oh, I just feel better looking at it. Look right here. We have a whole family. What are you going to do with your family this weekend? I have no idea. Could you motivate them to get up there, get some sun, do some exercise? Look at all the people inside, in between. See those people in there having a great time? I also want you to notice these interesting little huts that are built everywhere. They are the most amazing exhibit of creativity that you can see. Now, if you notice up here in the background, way up here on the top, this is what you call garden colony. Czech Republic is famous for its garden colonies, and each of these is about 200 square meters, or I forget what it is, and they have neighbors all around, and this has been there for about 100 years. This is the largest garden colony in the Czech Republic, and this is something that has never been researched before, so I'm looking at this thinking, my, what a great example of leisure, free time, time with family, time growing. And look at this house right here. And this lady, she's all excited. She's very busy in her free time. Look at all this activity here. Bicycle, they're not just going to the garden, they're even bicycling to the garden. Look at this house. Beautiful expression of creativity, beauty, flowers. So, here's all the rules about the garden colony. Of course, I couldn't get inside. Look at all the people there parked on a Saturday. Inside, different things. People looking, who in the world is that man taking a picture? You see that lady looking at me? Another bicycles drive me crazy. Okay, let's see. How can I get out of here?
Escape.
Sorry?
Escape.
Escape. Okay. So let's just go to the presentation. Okay. So I did this in cooperation with my colleague, Kudlacek. This was a study that we did for about 2 years. It's important for us to think about how does recreation can add to our health. People all over the world are choosing to spend their free time as gardening. In fact, many people say that gardening is the #1 leisure time activity in the world. More important, gardening can also help meet one's physical activity requirements for a healthy life. It provides a place not just for leisure but also important social activity. Garden colonies are groups of individual gardens near urban areas, and they are prominent in Central Europe. It's fascinating for me because you will not find this anywhere in the U.S. Literature. More people today are living in urban areas or cities with crowded and noisy situations. Gardening offers a positive experience for today's busy individual. Gardens can be a place where we remember what life used to be, and healthy and productive use of one's free time. Gardening is good. It's a natural way to exercise. This lifting, this pulling, pushing, using your fingers and your hands, no weight clubs, no health clubs I have to join. The nice smells, the fragrances, the influence of the nature and the green areas. It's an individual effort, and it's also nutritional. Central Europe, you have this unusual situation where you have these garden plots, and you also have these garden colonies surrounded. And in Zagreb is actually when I got so interested in this, because when I would ride my bicycle through these interesting trails all around Zagreb, around these big buildings, especially in Novi Zagreb, there would be these like hidden tiny little gardens all next to each other. People so busy in there. And it's this interesting combination of gardening and neighbors. There's a lack of information. We need more qualitative research on gardening. There's a lot of scientific, actual biological, chemical information about gardening, but not very much about from a recreation perspective. We need more information on natural ways to spend our free time. There's a lot about gardening and aging. It's shown that the older you get, the more time you're going to spend in gardening, and there has not been any research done actually on a garden colony. Okay, so what did we do for our method? We did some observation. You saw some of the pictures. We did extensive interviews with 2 gardeners. We spent time with them at their garden over a 2-day period, and we interviewed them. We did a survey, just a general survey with the University of Third Age class. It was just a class on singing and dancing. But we said we want to see how prevalent is gardening. Every single person in that class had a garden. Survey with the actual garden colony. We went to the actual meeting. They have a meeting one time a year. It took a lot of work and in detail to find out when was that meeting and can we come and do a survey there. And then we had a focus group. So this was based on observation, interviews, questionnaires, and a focus group. We chose a garden colony near Olomouc, Czech Republic. And we observed this garden colony. We received questionnaires from 50 gardeners, interviewed and visited 2 of them, and formed a focus group. You saw the pictures. What did we find? They spent a huge amount of their time devoted to the garden. And during the warm months, almost every Saturday, every Sunday is spent there on their garden colony. And if they are retired, most of them spend all of their time there. There's a lot of problems also inside the garden colony. Sometimes there's a problems with their neighbors. And then sometimes there's a big problem with insects and slugs. Maybe I keep my garden free from this certain little bug, but you don't care. You have this little bug, and then in 2 months I will see this bug in mine. And I go over and talk to my neighbor. We saw that this was a place for retreat and leisure time. It gives a natural order for free time. And neighbors also provide support, encouragement, advice, and problems. Many people talked about details about people who had been there for 2 or 3 or 4 generations, how they had gotten the most important personal and social advice from their neighbor in the garden, leaning over a fence, saying something like, what am I going to do about my daughter? Or what am I going to do about my husband or my money? And you get the best advice, through a gardener there. It's a natural panacea. This place provides a structure to someone's free time. A lot of people are looking for a place to go and spend their free time, and they're frustrated. Where we saw that this just provides a natural, simple way for them to go. It's an opportunity for community with family, friends, and neighbors. It's something that's natural, it's helpful, it's beautiful, and it allows for creative ideas, new thoughts, and action. What new kind of garden can I make this year? How can I paint the house in a different color this next year? So what can we do about this? Communities should support and provide ways for gardening. I hope maybe in the U.S. we can get Obama to include in his new presidential bid. Every community must have a garden colony. Information on gardening should be provided at the site. A lot of people don't have actually good information. They get most of their information just from their neighbors. And an easy way for vegetables and flowers to be sold. One of the limitations in this particular study was, it's always a challenge for me when I try to do research here in Central Europe because I don't speak the language. So you could imagine me trying to do all of these things, and so I'm sure that some information was lost in translation. The access to the garden colony, it is completely locked up. You cannot get in there. And they knew that I was a stranger. And when I was walking around, so eventually the only way that I could get inside was to go to the garden colony and meet with the board, and they had to approve that, or one of the people in the garden colony had to bring me inside. And interestingly, we found that a lot of people had no interest in being a part of the study. And so we would ask them, and they're like, oh, I'm here relaxing and enjoying. I don't want to to be involved in your study. Thank you.